emotions which cause your results. And so I always aim to have people understand what these things really mean. And that's how I was taught with my master coach, Mary Morrissey, and I'm wearing the badge that if you wonder what that is, it has the writing on it is Igniting the Fire of the Dream. And I'm going to talk about this. It's one of the keys to living an extraordinary life. And so what it means is that you want to know what your dream is in clarity, and you want it to be an ignited dream, something that you are passionate about, really, really passionate about. And so now I've lost my train of thought. People have been talking about your purpose and your why. And so, as I say, my goal is to link it all up and show you how it really works, how we get our results. And I mentioned the formula. So there is an art in science, and we all want transformation. And there is an art in science to transform, because people have also mentioned the belief systems, the paradigms, the brainwashing, the patterning that we are all subjected to and have been in the Western world, probably in any world, for decades, centuries, and more. And so what I want to remind everyone, and people have alluded to our spirituality as well, and what we say is we are not our bodies. We are spiritual beings in a human bodysuit. And I like to also explain that when, for example, when you're in a shopping complex and it's Easter, and you'll see these big fluffy bunnies wandering around with Easter eggs, going up to children and offering them to them. You know that there's something inside those big fluffy bunnies that are wandering around. It's a fluffy bunny bodysuit, but there's something inside. And I like to liken that about us, is that we're in a bodysuit. We are not our bodies. We are spiritual beings, and it's the spiritual side of us that many people have talked about today, and that actually connects with the universal laws. And we operate from the spiritual side of us with quantum physics. So, I'm just going to change my thing out. So another thing I want to remind everyone is that with the teaching that I teach is that everything is created twice. Everything starts as thought first before it becomes real in this physical world. If you want anything in life, you think it up. So the chair designer that designed that chair over there thought it up, and we think in pictures. And so the chair designer thought up the picture of every single detail in their head of that chair over there. Okay? Now, once we think something up, it already exists in the quantum realm. That's what quantum realm is. This is what quantum physics is that once we think something up with our mind, because everything is frequency, it exists. However, that chair could have just not come to fruition in this physical world unless the chair designer did certain things. There's a process. The process is the same for anything in our life, but I'm explaining it with a material thing first. So the process is you get the detailed picture, create the detailed picture of what you would like to create. The next step is you get it out of your head onto a blueprint so that other people can look at it, see it, products can be ordered to create it, etc. And then the third thing is taking action, actually ordering the products, organising for it to be put together. It's easy to understand when you look at a physical thing, isn't it? That's the process. That's how it gets from the quantum realm and a thought that was in someone's head that exists in the quantum realm into this physical world we are living in here. The quantum realm is the land of ideas and possibility. That's what it is. So, looking at the chair, it's easy to understand. If you know that you can do this with your dream life, with something you would love to be, to be, do, or create in life, the process is the same. Everything is created twice. If you use this process, you will bring it to fruition. What happens, can you hear me?
Yes.
What happens is, we think something up with regard to our results. You know, I would love this in my life. Oh, but I don't know how to get it. Or I don't have enough of something to do that. Or I'm not good enough to do that. That is the part of us, that the monkey brain, that stops us from going for things. And when we realize that we're doing that, we know how to overcome that. However, most people don't. It's a default mechanism. It's where we all go. So I want to give you one of my favourite quotes. You know, the badge I was wearing with the Rumi quote is, live life as if everything is rigged in your favour. That's also about your thinking. It's about expecting. And so I'm going to interweave the universal laws, quantum physics, and whatever else in this session today. So one of the laws of attraction is that there are two energies to it. Most people don't know this. They don't learn this. There are two energies for the law of attraction to come into play. The first one is a burning desire for something you would love. It's not just I kind of like that. It's a burning desire. The second one is a grateful expectation that it will happen. So look at that quote. Live life as if everything is rigged in your favour. It's an expectation. Okay, that's what that quote means. Go around as if things will happen in your favour. So I also want to talk to you about my other favourite quote, which is Einstein's quote. And because a lot of people have talked about frequency and energy this weekend. And that quote is from Einstein, everything is energy. That's all there is. Match the frequency of your desired reality, and it cannot help but be yours. This is not philosophy. This is physics. Now, when he spoke about that, quantum physics hadn't been discovered. Quantum physics is the latest science discovered by man, the most recent. And today we call this quantum physics, what Einstein said. Match the frequency of your desired reality, and it cannot help but be yours. Now, Aldwyn talked about it. She talked about how most of us are in shame, guilt, doubt, all of the low frequencies with our thoughts and our feelings, and how if you are in gratitude or love or joy or happiness, over 500. So if you create that picture of the life you would love to be living, the life you would, 10 out of 10 life, you would be grateful and happy to be living it. That picture, that description is at 500 plus already. So Einstein says if you can match that frequency, it cannot help but be yours. That is how it works. That is quantum physics. So the big question is, how do you match it? Before I tell you, I'm going to give you the 3 keys to living an extraordinary life, and these are some of the ways that you do it. I want to share something with you, and Aldwyn knows this story because I've shared it before. Because people were talking about the intelligence of babies at one point, or young people, and how it changes. 99% of all babies born absorb information for the first 18 months of their life like learning machines at a genius level in all modalities. Now, if any of you have had babies and watched them grow for their first 18 months or so, the development rate is phenomenal, isn't it? From that little helpless brand new baby to where they are at about 18 months, 2 years. They're willing to get things wrong. They're willing to try things. They learn so much in that time. By the age of 5, only 20%, now remember I said 99% of babies born operate at genius level, learn at genius level. By the time they're 5, only 20% are still operating at that level, and by the time we're 20, only 2% of us are. And would you like to know why?
Mm.
Experts say we learn to pay attention to the voice of criticism. And we start to focus on our doubt and our feelings of lack. Not being good enough, not being clever enough, not being able to do something for whatever reason. That is why we stop operating at that rate of genius. We try less, we do less, and we fall into what we call in my coaching business common hour thinking. And people have talked about that too, about the brainwashing and the patterning. We call it common hour thinking. So, I'm going to share with you the 3 keys. How's my time going? You're not even
Yes, no, you're good.
The 3 keys.
You're good.
So the first one is having, I mentioned it, having an ignited vision. You think up what you would love to be, do, have in life. And most of us lose the ability to use our imagination once again at the age of 2. Because how many people have noticed little kids are like, when I grow up, I'm going to do this, I'm going to be an astronaut, or I'm going to do something. And then at some point in their life, they stop saying that. They stop using their imagination. They get told to be realistic, or they get told to that they can't do something. What I suggest is that we go back to using our imagination to get that detailed, ignited vision of what we would love and put aside, and I do this with people, and some of you have got a free session in those giveaway bags, and some of you have got a special voucher for a discount or for a special to go through this session and deep dive into what you would love in your life to live that 10 out of 10 life if you didn't think you couldn't do this or that, if you didn't think you didn't have the outside circumstances or conditions to fulfill it. Because once we think something up, it already exists in the quantum realm. There's nothing we can't do that we can dream up. But we stop ourselves because we think, I don't know how. You don't have to know the how. The universe will give you the how. You only have to know what. So you create an ignited vision for something you would have a burning desire for. And then you put it down on a blueprint in detail. Remember the architect had to create a blueprint. You put it down in writing. Writing gets a particular part of the brain working. You write it out in detail as if it's already happened with the words gratitude. I'm so happy and grateful now that. And you write everything down in detail as if you're writing a chapter in your life. That's the first step. Most people don't do that. Most people spend more time. Who spends time planning their life like that? Most people spend more time planning a weekend away than how your life is going to look. Right? Because we don't think we can do it. We don't think we can plan our life like that. Well, I'm sorry to tell you, but you can. Well, I'm happy to tell you. Number 2, becoming a vibrational match. Remember, Einstein said, match the frequency of your desired reality. So number 2 is, how do we become a vibrational match so that we can live that extraordinary life? There are several ways to do it. We've talked about giving gratitude. When you incorporate giving gratitude, with that clear, detailed vision of what you want your life to be like, and you write it as if it's already happened. Someone mentioned, it wasn't Jax, it might have been Jules, that the unconscious mind doesn't know the difference between reality, what's really happened, and something that you tell it has happened that hasn't really happened. And did you know that you can give gratitude for things you're grateful for in your life now, but you can also give gratitude for things that haven't yet happened that you would like to happen? And so that connects your unconscious mind with the quantum realm, with the universal laws, and that brings it to fruition. The third thing to live an extraordinary life is having the right map. The map that's going to take you from where you are now to where you want to be with that extraordinary life, that 10 out of 10 life, that life you would love. The map that will cross the bridge, fill the gap, take you from where you are now to where you will be when you're living that life. And I want to talk a little bit about what that map is. The map comes from is what we call our intuition. And it's really important to learn the difference between the mind and the brain and discover how to listen to the still small voice. The still small voice is our intuition. And my daughter actually asked me that recently. We were talking about something and I said, what does your intuition tell you? And she said, how do I know? How do I know it's my intuition versus that chatterbox mind? And it's a really important question. It's like building the muscle. It takes practice. It's like learning. It's like it's to the point where you know that's the voice of your intuition. Just like when you pick up the phone and someone very dear to you is on the other end, you know it's their voice. They don't have to say, oh, it's Karen here. They know that it's me, right? And so I want to share with you this quote, another quote. We'll probably finish on this point. Mahatma Gandhi's quote. And it goes like this. Mahatma Gandhi reminds us, the voice for truth speaks to every person on the planet every single day. That voice is as loud as our willingness to listen. That is our intuition. And when you learn to listen to your intuition, you learn to hear that voice instead of the other voice. Many of us hear it, but we disregard it. We think it's not the right voice, or we think it's not the right thing. When you learn to follow your intuition, your life will flow, and you will experience that joy and happiness, that extraordinary life that you would love to be living. So on that note, what's the time? I've finished. If anyone has,
Yay! Karen Clark, the quantum.
9:39.
if anyone has any questions, now's the time.
Karen, do you want to just give us the 1, 2, and 3?
Yes, again,
Just
recap. Yes. Okay.
What 1 is, what 2
So
is.
one is having an ignited vision, a burning desire. It means it's not just something that, oh yeah, I like that. That'll be okay. I quite like that. That's on my bucket list. An ignited vision, and the vision has to be in detail, in writing. Okay, as if it's already happened. Number 2 is becoming that vibrational match. Raising your vibration in every way you know how. Gratitude, love, like-hearted giving. The law of reciprocity says, go give first before you receive. Like Aldwyn said, go out tomorrow and do something that's giving. It changes your frequency. the frequency you want to match is love and gratitude and joy and all of the things that you've written in that vision that you would love. Right? Because it's a vision for a life that you would love, an extraordinary life. And the third thing is having the right map. And that map comes from your intuition.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Hope that was helpful for
Thank
everyone.
you. Thank
Fantastic.
you.
Yes, thank you, Karen Clark. Clark, Quantum Team, Day 2
Would
of
like to
Impact
know